Hey guys, how's it going? So 3 things for today. The first thing is an update on the greenstock vertical gardens that we have strawberries in the greenhouse, which is right in front of me. The second thing we're going to do is plant some Sempervivums around the rocks in the pond area. And the third thing we're going to do is pot up some sweet little evergreens to put in a little grouping, I think by the benches behind the Hartley. Should be a really fun day. So first things first, here are the greenstock gardens. This is the original tower of strawberries we planted up this spring. This is the one that on September 15th we filled up with fresh soil, and we took runners from this garden and put them over here. All of these plants were essentially free, and every single one of them rooted. They've created roots, they've created new growth. I'm just so encouraged by how this project went. Oh, you can even see this one. There's an extra little baby that was just laying kind of on top of the soil. I don't remember planting that one, but this is a great example of how they form their roots right there. See that? But the thing is, the way we did this is the best way to ensure success of strawberry propagation. So you've got the mother plant here. You've got the runner, you see right here. There's one of the babies along the runner. That's a really strong one. And it keeps going. We tacked that baby down in this pocket, and then there was another one at the very end of that one runner that we put here. So while they are forming up their roots, they're still getting fed by the mother plant through this little stem right here. But now that they have created their own root system, we can clip them off the mother plant, thus saving this plant a ton of energy because it will no longer have to supply these babies. And we managed to find enough runners to reach all the way around all of these pockets. And I did leave a few extras, which today I'm going to clip these off because it's unnecessary for these to be here now. I don't want the mother plant sending energy into these. I just saved these in case some of these didn't take. That way I could, bring these over and try to fill in the gaps. I am going to go grab my pruners so that we can cut them from the mother plants today. Now, I did go through my pile of runners because we groomed so many off of the mother plants, and I did pop them into some 4-inch containers with fresh soil, and they are in the studio. Sometimes I have them root. It's not the best way to get them to root though. Like, I think the ratio of success to failure with that is not as great. There they are. They really benefit from staying connected to the mother plant until they've kind of established themselves a little bit. Now, the ones in the studio, some of them feel firm in the soil, but I've had to cut all the tops back, all the tops wilted. So we'll see if they have enough energy to continue rooting and actually create some top growth. It might take some time, but it's only been just over a month since we did this project. Okay, so like this one here, we can clip this stem off, and it doesn't need to be here anymore. Oh, now that plant is all on its own. Liberation. Okay, here we go. Oh, this one even has a bloom. Look at that. Oh, and a little fruit forming. That was fast. Okay, I think that side has all been disconnected, maybe? Hold on. The one left here. Hey, bud. I don't know why this feels so satisfying. Here's a big long one right there. We don't need that. Hey, Russell. All right, got it all done. So now these can swing freely from one another. Oh, these ones that were in between will probably benefit from having a little bit more light. At the time that we did this project, I gave all the strawberries berry tone, which I do think helps get them off to a really good start. I'm not going to reapply that today though. No more fertilizer for these for the rest of the season because I do want these to go dormant. I don't intend on leaving them here in the greenhouse. I mean, I don't know. I could do a little bit of digging. I do think that their natural cycle is to go dormant for a little while, which I kind of want to let these do. Just pop these out into the high tunnel where they will be protected from any extreme temperatures since they are in containers, but they'll still stay relatively close to the same temperature that it is outside. You're just all over the place today, Russell. If I was going to keep them in the greenhouse trying to get more fruit production out of them, I might give them more fertilizer at this point. So that's it for project number 1. Project number 2 are the Sempervivums. And I just picked up 3 1-gallon size containers to start with. Well, maybe those aren't 1 gallon. Is that a quart? Whatever. There's a whole bunch of rosettes here. And this is the variety Black. They are hardy down to zone 3 through 8. 4 to 6 inches tall, 6 to 8 inch spacing, plus, you know, they start producing babies and spread out that way. So I thought that these would be really fun to tuck in around some of the rocks and just start small with a few, and then we can add to it, add more semps and more sedum next season. Those are a few of our evergreens right there. Okay, let's head over to the pond. Here we are. Here's the semp, and this is what I'm thinking. See these stones right here? The area sort of in front of and around the stones, I think might be a little bit harder to irrigate. I mean, we can definitely run a drip tube around the base of that rock and bring it in this way, but I think that that will likely, for the amount of water that we have to, or the amount of time rather, that we have to water everything else, it'll be too much for this sort of area. So I want something that does not require very much water at all. Maybe just runoff water from the things that are, you know, planted up above it. So I'd like to try planting things like this and sedums around the rock areas and around kind of the border area here. So I think starting in, like right in here, will be really pretty. And that's why I only picked up 3 of the containers, because I thought I just want to start in small and see how I like the look of it for this area. I want this space to feel very sort of woodland, and Sempervivums definitely, you don't find those in the woods around here, but they are hardy here. They can withstand our winters. So I think if we add a little bit in here and there, it'll be really pretty. Let me get my kneeling pad and my fork. Here we go. Yeah, it feels like there is some moisture in this soil right here, just from these being watered. These are very compatible too. The Russian and sage and the semps both don't want very much water. Let's see what these look like underneath. You might be able to separate these too. So if we take them apart, we can kind of spread these out a little bit further. So I think that's what I'll do, is I'll remove all of the little ones from around the big one, and we'll plant the big one first and then fill in with the smaller ones. I think it turned out pretty. So that first container went right here, just separated them and spread them out a little bit so that I could get kind of the shape I wanted, kind of hugging the rock. Oh, that's so pretty. Now these will be in the full sun here in just a little bit. They'll get full afternoon sun, which I think they will love. But I tucked them in between these rocks, kind of trailing them down, and then there's more right up here. In fact, this little group and this was the second container, and then the third container are all of these right here. Aren't those just really pretty down there? And I have to say, a little update on the plumbago, that they are just absolutely gorgeous. I wouldn't mind spreading this type of perennial everywhere. It's starting to get a little bit of red color, red fall color, a little bit more on that side, but the blue blooms are so gorgeous. Let's check on the fish. There's a couple up there. Oh, I just saw the frog. The frogs take off real quick when we approach the pond. I think they think I'm going to feed them. Let's see if we can see the shark down in there. Oh, yep. It's in the shadows, but I can see it right down at the bottom. I swear I am counting 11. I thought there were only 10 in there. Yeah, there are 11 koi in there. I was sure we only had 10. We had 6 to start off with, and then Greg brought 4. It's too big to have been a baby. Oh, that's weird. Okay, now we're gonna go gather up some containers. I did pick up a few more evergreens on my way over here with the Sempervivums. So I don't think, well, maybe we'll plant all of these. We may not. There's a really fun selection of them though. Looking so fresh. Let's go get some pots. done, you guys, and I could not be happier with how all of these look and how they all ended up in their arrangements. And I used every single evergreen except for one. They all ended up in this area. There are 2 on either side of that bench. There's a little grouping on that corner, a grouping on this corner, and then these 2, which mirror those 2. And I love these. I really wish they stayed this small. This is definitely a temporary arrangement. These are a Cedar Rapids fall cypress. I had 5 on hand. They're brand new for next year. And Proven Winter sent them out for us to give them a shot, give them a try, plant them, and see what they did. So I ended up planting one of them in our raised bed vegetable garden, and then the 4, of course, today in these pots. And I just think they're the prettiest texture. They're just gorgeous. So soft and ferny, but they get big. Like 30 feet tall and 12 to 15 feet wide. So not going to stay in these containers for too long. I just thought that they would be beautiful winter interests. They could probably last in this container this winter and probably next season, and then they would need to go out next fall. They are a zone 4 through 8, and they have kind of a chartreuse, like a very bright fresh green, and they take on a little bit of a twisted appearance, but very pyramidal in nature when they're grown. They're just a really pretty one. And they're said to be deer proof now, or deer resistant, not proof. Nothing's deer proof, right? I mean, I don't speak from experience when it comes to deer, but from what I hear from you guys, they can be pretty relentless. But this variety is supposedly more resistant to deer. And I ended up really liking the scale of these pots. When I first set them down, I thought, oh boy, those are too small. And you know, they might be the smallest I could get away with in this area. But once I got the cypress planted in there and they were lifted in the pots just a little bit at the correct height, I really like it. I think they're gorgeous. And there's Cheddar. Hey buddy. Cheddar's been extra lovey today. And there's the other 2 over there. Now I did remember to run drip to these, and I only did to these 4 because these evergreens up here, they're very easy for me to water, and they're on the north side of the structure, so they don't need as much water as they would get if I hooked them to the drip system that's there. So I don't want those to be overwatered. But these out here in more sun, we'll get these attached. Probably not this fall, but in the spring, at least the tube's there, so we can attach them later. It's so pretty to have that green, that little anchor on either side of the benches. Okay, I left the tags over here. I don't know all the details by heart on these, like especially this one. This is one of the ones that Isley sent out earlier this season. This is a Cumulus Saguaro cypress. We did plant one of these out in the south garden. Such a pretty, soft little evergreen. They grow 1.5 feet tall by 1.5 feet wide. I think it's just such a clean, simple look. In fact, all 3 of these. I love it. I love that look for winter. But I think that this one will do well in this container. It's a zone 4, hardy to negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit. And then this one right here is a Dwarf Alberta spruce. Pretty common, but really nice for containers especially, I think. Isn't that the perfect Christmassy thing? I mean, like just carrying on the Christmas vibe from our Norway spruces down into all of these little evergreens here. In the landscape, these will grow like 8 by 5. And they're a zone 2 through 8. So crazy winter hardy, perfect for a container like this. In fact, both of these are for sure. Because when you are planting things in a container and wanting them to winter over, the rule of thumb, like the professionals say, that you should choose something that's rated 2 zones lower than your growing zone. So we're a zone 6. So given the fact that the Cumulus is a zone 4, the Alberta is a zone 2, that's perfect. That gives us that buffer. Now we do water them about every 2 to 3 weeks because even if we're getting precipitation of some kind, a lot of it sometimes gets deflected by the foliage and doesn't make it down to the root. So we at least check them every 2 to 3 weeks, even if we're not going to be watering. If they're saturated, then definitely skip the watering at that moment, but it's something that we have to keep on the schedule and keep our eyes on. Now this one right here is a type of shrub that I've never grown before, and it's a brand new variety for next year. It's a type of sweet box called Sweet and Low. Now this one's a zone 5 through 9, so I'm pushing it a little bit, but this one is said to be incredibly shade tolerant. So being on the north side of this structure, I think that it's gonna do well right here. And I think that this one is a perfect variety for a container because it naturally stays on the smaller side. About 18 to about 24 to 30 inches tall or so, and then maybe 2 to 3 feet wide. So you could put it in a bigger container eventually if you wanted to. But you know, plants that naturally stay that small can handle containers better than things that get huge, like the Cedar Rapids fall cypress. These get in the early spring, you can see them actually, the little buds, they get really thin flowers that are hot pink and white. I'm looking forward to that. And they have a jasmine-like fragrance is what they say. Now these, from what I understand, do like acidic soil. So I'm gonna be coming in with soil acidifier. In fact, I'm gonna probably go get that later on this evening and we'll come out and apply that because we do have high pH soil and water. So even though I used the potting soil that's just usually a pretty nice neutral, I will need to add soil acidifier because our water will make the soil a little bit too sweet for these. So that does it for that grouping. And this one is pretty similar, except for I didn't have an Alberta spruce. I had a lemon cypress, which this one I will not be able to leave out all winter. Possibly. It's hardy to 0. I don't think we got down to 0 last year. Our lowest temperature was 9, if I remember correctly, or right around there. But we've been in the negative teens before, I mean, since we've been in this house. So it's something that I'll have to really watch, or I could preventatively just pop it inside the Hartley and just keep it in there. They're wonderful houseplants. They take a ton of water though. They're like kind of like rosemary to me. Inside rosemary, I have to water it so much to keep it happy, and same with these lemon cypress, as opposed to when you have them outside. Typically they want less water. But this one has the same structure as the Alberta, you know, that nice cone shape. They smell so good when you prune them. I've got another little guy right there. That one, because it's in a smaller container, will definitely go inside. The other two here are the same, repeats from the other side. And then I do have a kangaroo paws out here. I bought this last winter, had them in the greenhouse, potted them, put them out here, and they're just rocking, doing great. So I will put those in the Hartley as well. They won't winter outside. And you guys, that is gonna do it for today. I was really excited to update you on the strawberries because it's always fun when you have a success like that. And I will let you know about the other ones, the ones I had to cut back that didn't you know, do a whole lot, and I didn't really expect them to. I've had strawberries root, you know, separating them from the mother plant before, but it's hit and miss. And the Sempervivums are so fun. Benjamin actually came along and told me that he really liked my plants, Mama, is what he said when I was just finishing up with those. So that's fun, and I think Aaron is really gonna like those as well. And then of course, getting a little bit more fluff around the Hartley is always nice. I think we're gonna low-key the Christmas lights around the Hartley this year. We're not putting any on the structure. It hasn't really looked right to me to have them on the structure. Did we have them on the structure last year? Maybe not. But I think the only lights I want to put around this structure are white lights on the Christmas trees on all the corners, and then of course we'll do a Christmas tree inside, so there'll be a glow from inside, and I think the simplicity will be really nice. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.